My God, does everyone have ADHD or autism these days? Seriously, you just have to scroll through Instagram or TikTok for like 5 minutes and you'll see ADHD hacks, autism stories, dopamine dressing, masking burnout. It is literally everywhere. And you might be wondering, is this just trendy, or are we really facing an explosion of neurodivergent diagnosis? In this video today, I'm going to break down exactly what's going on, including why the algorithm is feeding you all of this content, what the science actually says about ADHD and autism rates, and 5 big reasons you might be here today or why you're seeing so much neurodivergent content right now. So stick around. This might help you finally make sense of your own experience, or just understand what's really happening behind the doom scrolling. Now, before we get into it today, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell. Usually I share honest, practical videos about ADHD and autism and living gloriously in a neurodivergent life, so you can finally understand kind of what your brain is without any shame, understand what's really kind of happening there for you. So hey, neurofabulous friends, I'm Nicola, your resident brain Sherpa and caffeine-fueled chaos wrangler, and proudly late diagnosed neurodivergent human. If you ever felt like your brain was running on Windows 95 and everyone else is running on Mac OS, I feel you. Around here, we break down the messy truths about ADHD and autism. We talk a little bit about planning and organization so you can show up as your true, brilliant self. No apologies needed. We listen and we don't judge. All right, first things first. Let's talk about why social media is blasting you with ADHD and autism content. It's all about the algorithm. TikTok and Instagram Reels use personalization. They track what you pause on, like, share, comment. If you stop on one ADHD video, you're basically telling the algorithm, show me more of this. And boy, does it deliver. That's why once you watch a single video about time blindness or sensory overload, your feed goes neurodivergent overnight. High engagement and high relatability means that for ADHD and autism posts, they're extremely relatable. Everyday forgetfulness, social awkwardness, losing your phone. Millions of people see themselves in these tiny traits, even though they don't or might not meet the diagnostic criteria. That relatability makes the videos go viral, and the platforms then reward them. Humor, self-deprecation, self-irony, quick cuts, all of this is built for watch time. It's snackable, it's sticky, which means the algorithm boosts it over and over and over again. So let's be real. There's also a money side to this. Creators gain huge followings, ad deals, and even merchandise sales by posting ADHD or autism content. Over half of the ADHD themed creators on TikTok are monetizing somehow, according to a 2025 study, which I will link in the comments because I love research and I'm sure you do too. That's why you're here. That doesn't make them bad people though. Just to be clear, content creators are not bad people, but it explains why there's such a tidal wave of content right now. So what's really cool about kind of the next step in this understanding is there's reduced stigma and community boom. We're finally talking about neurodivergency as something that is accepted. The stigma is shrinking, so people are openly sharing and building entire communities. Hashtags like ADHD or autism have pulled in hundreds of millions of views. That's a really powerful feedback loop. So, a quick pause. Have you ever had that holy heck, that's me moment on TikTok or Instagram? Drop a comment below with what video actually made you think you might be neurodivergent. Your story might help someone else feel seen too. So let's do that.
Nicola is the brains, and I am an emotional support dinosaur.
Okay, let's get nerdy. Love me being a nerd. Okay, so being nerdy. Globally, about 5% of kids have ADHD, but adult ADHD is rising fast. In the US, adult rates nearly doubled from 2.5% to 4.4% since 2007, and stimulant prescriptions jumped 30% from 2020 to 2022. The UK, adult prescriptions have doubled since 2017, and Australia's stimulant prescriptions have grown almost 300% in the past decade. New Zealand is changing rules right now. New Zealand is where I live, if you're wondering, to let GPs and nurse practitioners diagnose adults with ADHD from 2026 because the wait lists are so fucking long. Like 18 months, dude. These aren't new brains. These aren't new people with new problems. These are people who have been missed for decades. We did them dirty. So, what about autism? Autism is about 1 to 2% of the world's population. But in the US, the latest data is that 1 in 36 kids, the highest ever recorded, has been noted. Japan estimates that 1 in 55 kids, while in New Zealand it's 1 in 54. Rates go up with better detection, especially among girls and non-binary folks who were historically overlooked. Now, some quick fun facts, because love a fun fact, and I'm also info dumping today. Bonkers. It's my language of love. ADHD isn't really an attention deficit issue. It's more like an attention regulation problem. Many people can hyperfocus on stuff that they love. Also, ADHD brains can show a developmental lag in certain regions by a couple of years compared to neurotypical brains. That's fascinating to me. And fun. Genetically, ADHD is about 74% heritable. So it absolutely runs in families. Now, what's up with medication shortages and treatments? Why are people so hyped up about this right now? Because demand is skyrocketing. In the US, UK, Australia, and even New Zealand, they have all had medication shortages since 2023. In England, ADHD was the second most viewed condition on the NHS website in 2023, second only to COVID. So trust me, you're not imagining this trend. It is huge. Now, here's a fresh 2025 fact for you. TikTok's top 100 ADHD videos this year clocked 500 million views combined. That is wild. It proves that people are hungry for these conversations.
Like this video and you get one more. La!
Let's take a minute for a second to talk about the elephant in the room. 2020. When COVID lockdown hits globally, our routines vanished. Working from home, no school, no structure, zero distractions. People had time to notice just how chaotic their brains actually were. Suddenly, struggles with focus, time blindness, sensory overload had nowhere to hide. Research published in the Frontiers in Psychology found that adult ADHD diagnosis jumped after COVID lockdowns because for the first time, many people could see their own patterns really super clearly. So tell me in the comments, is Instagram and TikTok actually overwhelming you with information, or is it actually helping you? As I said earlier, I would love to know, because then we can help other people and share a story and feel seen. So that would be great. Okay, so let's actually just recap why you're seeing this so much, right? So TikTok's For You page is designed to keep you on the app. ADHD and autism videos perform great because they're relatable, emotional, and sticky. So the algorithm keeps pushing them. Also, there's the virality of relatable traits. People share the videos because they see themselves in them, even if it's just normal procrastination. That viral power means more and more people watch, and the loop goes on and on and on. So, we're also changing mental health culture. It's way safer now to talk about neurodivergence. Stigma is decreasing and dropping, and influencers are proud to share their diagnosis, and followers feel braver to share those too. I'm sharing mine. There is also the aspect of self-diagnosis and access gaps. So it can take years, literally a year and a half in New Zealand in some cases, to see a professional. So people turn to TikTok or Instagram to understand their brains. That means creators keep making relatable content because they are hungry and there is a hungry audience. So there's also the rise of neurodiversity pride. Lastly, and probably relevantly, people are reframing ADHD and autism as brain differences, not brokenness, not any other of the horrible words we can think of. So these conditions get a positive spotlight, and that's a good thing. You'll see more stories about strengths and community, not just the struggles that people are facing. Now, if you relate to this chaos and brilliance, I've made something just for us. Check out. How fun is this? My overstimulated jumpers. They're designed to remind you that your spicy brain is a gift. Check out the links below. All right, on to kind of the next part. Is it you? Are you being fed this because, well, you might think that you've got some neurodiversity tendencies? Let's look at it a little closer, because I don't want you leaving here feeling that no, you don't, or yes, you do. Let's dig a little deeper. So, if you've ever felt like you were too much for people, too talkative, too sensitive, too intense, or not enough, you're not motivated enough, you're not organized enough, you're absolutely not alone. These experiences are a big clue for neurodivergence, because ADHD and autism both involve brain differences that don't fit the standard mold. Research shows that women and non-binary folks are still undiagnosed worldwide, and even as those diagnosis rates climb, for example, adult ADHD rates for women in the US more than doubled between 2020 and 2022. But so many still get missed. That mismatch feeling, that disconnect, it's real, it's valid. You can hyperfocus, but you also forget to pay your bills. Sound familiar? You can go into a laser focused trance for hours on something you love, a hobby, a special interest, a work project, painting a wall that you didn't think you needed to know needed painting, but you would rather do that than reply to that email that someone sent you, but then totally forget to pay the power bills as well, or even eat lunch. That's the thing with me, is I get into work and I forget to eat. That's the neurodivergent tension between hyperfocus and executive dysfunction, and you're not the only one. Studies show ADHD affect 1 to 4% of adults worldwide, and this struggle is part of why so many people only get diagnosed later in life, when support structures of childhood kind of fall away and you have to start being adult on your own. Okay, the next one is you burn out from masking. Masking is huge for neurodivergent folks. It means you're performing to fit in socially or to hide traits that others might find weird. You might keep it together at work or school, but come home and crash, totally wiped out. Women and non-binary people are especially likely to ask, which means their traits often go undiagnosed by doctors, which is a big reason why late diagnosis has skyrocketed in places like Australia and the UK in recent years. The pandemic pulled the mask off for a lot of people. Routines broke down and the burnout became impossible to ignore. The next one is sensory overload or sensory craving. Neurodivergent people live with sensory extremes. Some things might be completely overloading to you, bright lights, loud noises, scratchy fabrics. Others you might crave, deep pressure, loud music, stimulation toys. If you notice you're constantly adjusting for your environment for comfort, that's a huge clue about ADHD, autism, or both. Global estimates put autism rates about 1 to 2% of the population, but in some countries it's now as high as 1 in 36 children. And up to half of autistic folks also meet the ADHD criteria. So if these sensory battles sound familiar, you're probably in good company. Now, if you are relating to neurodivergent voices online, this is a big one. If you scroll TikTok or Instagram and you think, oh my God, that's me, or you send it to people because you're like, oh my God, that's me, over and over and over and over again, you're not being dramatic. You're seeing your true self reflected, maybe for the first time. In fact, ADHD hashtags on TikTok more than doubled in 1 year, giving millions of people a mirror for their own experience. That spark of recognition is powerful, and for many, it's the first step towards getting real support. Now, if this video made you feel seen today, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Go ahead and hit that like button, and it really helps the channel reach more of our neurofabulous friends. Make sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss any future videos about ADHD, autism, auDHD, embracing your wonderfully weird brain. And hey, share this with someone who might need to hear that they're not alone, because together we're normalizing neurodivergence, one video at a time.